Excellent. Well, hello from London, and where we've had some interesting stormy weather. It's felt like it started with all four seasons in one day, which is exactly what we're chatting about. So this is part 3 of a 4-part mini-series on the very, very important topic of managing sleep and how to ensure a good night's rest almost every night. So the first 2 parts, we took a look at spring, which is all about the start of your day and how you can start your day off in the way that can help promote an easier night's rest. And then we went into summer, which is your productive day. And this is around the season of autumn, which is really important, that leads us into winter. And a lot of us we're driving at like high speed on this highway, like all day, performing and showing up, switching on and switching up. And then we kind of get to bedtime and we expect to just hit our head on our pillows and fall asleep. And that's almost the equivalent of expecting going at like a high speed on a highway or a motorway and then to just come to a grinding halt. Doesn't quite make sense. It's so important to apply the brakes, right? So ideally, you want to be breaking 2 or 3 hours before you want to fall asleep. And so that is what autumn is about. So autumn is around when you end your working productive day, and then you enter your evening where you might be spending it with family or doing external activities, maybe some exercise or yoga or cooking a meal, maybe resting, reading, sleeping, and then going into sleep itself. And to start us off, I'd like to share the beginning of a poem by one of my favorite poets, David White. And the poem is about exhaustion and fatigue, and it's called Sweet Darkness. When your eyes are tired, the world is tired also. When your vision has gone, no part of the world can find you. Time to go into the dark, where the night has eyes to recognize its own. There you can be sure you are not beyond love. The dark will be your home tonight. We need the dark. It's where all the magic happens in terms of rebooting the brain, lifting up our immune system, and helping us rest. I mean, we need to sleep a third of our lives. So there's obviously a very good reason why. So preparing for that very sacred surrender time is key. And so there's a lot that you can do leading up to the 2 or 3 hours before you want to sleep. And I have a sleep guide, which I've put together, which summarizes an approach that seems to work well for me. And what it does is it takes you through your 5 senses. So very briefly, because if you'd like more detail, I'd really recommend, if you'd like to get the guide, simply direct message me or leave a comment below with your email and I'll send it to you. So if you think of sight, it's very important to reduce the amount of light that you're exposed to. That helps your brain produce melatonin, which helps you feel drowsy and get a good night's sleep. What's really important, though, as part of reducing light is also reducing information. So ideally, these digital devices should not be very close to us when we're wanting to go to sleep, especially an hour before. So scrolling while you're lying in bed is probably the worst thing you can do. There's so much information out there to show that scrolling is probably more stress-inducing than soothing, and you can lose a lot of time. You also can't control what comes into your conscious mind at that point. So you may be wanting to catch up with friends on WhatsApp or maybe some family on Facebook, but you end up seeing other things and getting pulled down all these different rabbit holes. And you will then potentially start thinking and stimulating the prefrontal cortex, and that can make it more difficult for you to switch off. Or if you do fall asleep because you're just so tired, you may find that you then dream about the things that you've been exposed to. And how many times are we feeling so tired, but we're also incredibly wired that we can't wind down? So I've specifically done a presentation on how to declutter and how to find the digital sweet spot. So if this is a topic that interests you, please leave me a comment. And I'd love to do a Facebook Live on this very topic, because it's easy to say be off your phone, but it's not that easy if maybe, I don't know, you live alone or it's the only time that you have and you feel like it's your leisure downtime. However, we know that spending time on social media is low quality leisure downtime. It's not high quality leisure downtime, and it's not the ideal way to spend autumn. So using your sight, be wary of how much light you're exposed to, what information you're exposed to. Then think of smell and taste, and it can be helpful to create rituals that you repeat every night. So those of you who are parents and you perhaps have young children, who you know need to have a very precise bedtime routine to get them to sleep. There's like bath time, pajama time, dinner time, maybe a bit of playtime, and then there's storytelling in bed. And then you know that they'll probably go off to sleep. So what about you? Do you have a bath time and a pajama time and a lullaby time? I mean, I kid you not. We know that singing and humming can be very soothing because it activates the vagus nerve, but that's perhaps also another conversation. I'm not expecting you to sing yourself a lullaby, but what I am asking you is do you have some kind of routine that you repeat at night? And in terms of taste and smell, maybe it could include always making the same herbal tea. So at 9:30 or 10 p.m., you make yourself a chamomile tea or red bush tea or a mint tea, ideally something non-stimulating, so without caffeine. And then perhaps you use something like an essential oil, lavender perhaps, or vanilla. And you can put some drops on your pillow, or you can take 5 or 10 deep breaths and you smell that scent. And you repeat that every night. Or you use your other sense of hearing and listen to the same type of soothing music. And by doing it night after night, after a few weeks and months, it's a bit like the Pavlov effect, or teaching a dog new tricks. You can actually then start helping it, make it easier for your body and your mind to relax. And then the other sense is, well, hearing I've mentioned in terms of music. But if you're like me and you're very sensitive to sound, perhaps you could consider using earplugs, even if you don't think that you're affected by noise. I can't believe what a difference it makes when I put those, and I don't use the earplugs that go into the ear canal, because those can hurt, especially if you're lying on your head, or lying against the side of your head, your ear, as opposed to perhaps on your back. The silicone ones that the swimmers use tends to work well for me. And when we start traveling again, and if you're like me, perhaps spending time in different hotels where there's like strange sounds, the aircon and the refrigerator, then try perhaps using silicone earplugs. And then the last sense is your sense of touch. We don't always give thought to this, but do you actually like the fabrics that are on your body when you go to sleep? If you choose not to sleep with anything, that's cool. But then what about the linen? Do you actually like the linen? We spend a third of our lives in bed, a third. So is your bed a sanctuary? Do you look forward to being there? If you think of your bedroom now, does it give you a sense of, like this lovely exhale? Or is it maybe cluttered and it's like quite old sheets, and maybe your mattress hasn't been replaced in a long time and the colors aren't really soothing? So give that thought. And how could you, if there was one thing you could do to make your bedroom feel more comfortable, what would it be? Would it be a new pillowcase? Would it be a new sheet? Maybe a candle next to your bed? So those are how you could use the 5 senses to help you create a sense of going into winter. So creating a sense of autumn and relaxation. Next to your bed. So those are how you could use the 5 senses to help you create a sense of I'm not sure going into winter. So creating a sense of autumn and relaxation. There we go. I'm in autumn phase. So you see, I'm like starting to relax. My brain's like, okay, I don't really want to be dealing with this tick. And actually, to that point, if you're in the UK, it will be 20 past 8 in a few minutes. If you're in South Africa, I think I spotted some South Africans on the call. It's an hour later. So this is a good time to get off tick and allow yourself to maybe pick up a book, maybe take a bath, and maybe just spend time with yourself. So it's very interesting how social media and digital devices and the busyness of life and work and our never-ending inboxes that are like this constant rat race keep us away from solitude, contemplation, stillness, and silence. And there's a lot to be said about the ability to be still with yourself, or to sit and have meaningful conversations with the people that are in your home with you right now. So this is part 3, taking a look at autumn. If you would like to receive the guide, the sleep guide, please leave me a comment or a message below, or direct message me your email and I'll send that to you. And next week, this time, I'll take a look at part 4, which will be about the actual season of winter. So when we are sleeping, there's a bit more I'd like to share about creating a sanctuary in your bedroom. And then what happens if you wake up at like 2 or 3 a.m. and you can't get back to sleep? That's what I want to take a look at. So it's been absolutely lovely to chat to you this evening. Wherever you are, may you have a very good night's sleep tonight. and may your autumn roll into a beautiful, beautiful winter. Good night.